dares disturb my slumber? Who dares to awaken apocalypse? What is this? Brian Singer? What monstrosity has he made? X-Men Apocalypse? No! From the ashes of this film, I shall demand a better one. Kindness does nothing to test, to enhance a film's strength, to force them to evolve and be perfect. I will leave this to my horsemen at patreon.com/evacstation. For less than the cost of a crappy costume that makes you look like Ivan Ooze, you can keep my horsemen hard at work, destroying all manner of torturous films. Again, that is patreon.com/evacstation. Now listen, or perish with the rest of humankind.
From the asses of these directors, we shall build a better film. We are Aaron Wasescalips, and with me today, I've got Ryan Magneters. And I got Robeast Nelson.
Robeast, I like it.
Gotta change up a little bit, just a little bit.
Yeah.
And, what song goes better with the end of the world with Apocalypse than X-Men Meets Metal by Eric Calderone? And the link is in the description down below. It is fucking baller. Please check it out.
Oh my goodness.
And of course, if you want to keep up with our podcast on social media, there's Tumblr, Twitter, Facebook, all in the description down below. There's also various platforms of choice you can find us, including Peepa, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, and Podcast Addict. Rate, review, and subscribe on all those platforms. The more reviews we get, higher 5-star reviews, whatever, likes and all that stuff, the more we get seen by people, and that is fantastic, and we would love some help with that. So please do that. And of course, Ryan, we have an email people can reach out to us at. What is that email?
That email is Oscar Isaac deserves so much better at Gmail. I'm sorry. Excuse me. That is evacstation@gmail.com.
Oh, Oscar Isaacs. He's had a rough one.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Man.
Oh, man.
I wish I could have been there when his agent pitched it to him. Like, dude, you get to play fucking Apocalypse. This is like pretty much the god of mutants, the first ever mutant, super powerful and crazy shit. He's like, yeah, fucking sign me up.
Awesome.
Oh no. Oh baby. Oh no.
Well.
Man.
Well, before we get too deep into that, let's get another quick round of what you watching in. Gentlemen, what have you been watching for this week of X-Men?
Ooh.
Well, Robbie, go ahead.
I actually finally signed up for DC Universe.
Oh, boy.
And yeah, they had a deal for Batman's anniversary, and it was the 85th anniversary, so it was 85 cents for the first month, so I thought it was a pretty good deal.
Oh.
And yeah, it was awesome. So I've caught up on Young Justice Outsiders, and I'm halfway through Titans.
Titans is good.
Yeah, I've enjoyed the hell.
I was super skeptical, but
Yeah.
my girlfriend had watched it before, and she really, really liked it, and she wanted to see my reaction to it, and she actually sold me on it.
Yeah, I like it so far, and then Doom Patrol is next on the list, so looking forward to it. Plus, they put the animated movies on there, so they just dropped the new one, Justice League versus Fatal 5.
Oh, nice.
That has some of the original voice actors, like Kevin Conroy's on there. Yeah. So check it out. It just got released like the last couple of weeks, so they just put it on DC
I may have to
Universe.
jump into that soon because I'm going to pitch an idea to Ryan for next year for the podcast. I think he's going to hate me for it, but I'm going to pitch it to him later. I don't want to do it now because if it.
Oh man, why you do this to me on the air? Anyway,
I'm not going to pitch it to you now because if I do it now and it doesn't happen, everyone who listens is going to be like, "Oh, you guys didn't do the thing he wanted to do." It's like, well, I don't want to get your hopes up, guys. So behind the scenes, you'll hear about it later.
Behind the scenes.
All right.
So that's mine.
Oh, before I get to mine, which is going to be pretty quick. Robbie, did you hear that they recently cast who will actually show up in season 2 as Batman for Titans?
Absolutely, my boy Jorah.
Sir Jorah Mormont. Wow. Bruce Wayne. Oh, yeah, I'm very excited. I'm very excited for this.
Yeah, I was pretty pumped. I think it's gonna be interesting. So definitely excited.
Yeah, you're gonna have to come back and let us know when you finish Titans.
Yeah, I should be.
Especially with the end of the first season, I'm very interested to hear what you think about it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'll let you know.
Okay. But as far as my what you watching, it actually is a continuation from last week's because me and Allegra were watching kind of these older movies that I like, and in the vein of those magicians movies, I can't watch The Prestige without turning around and watching The Illusionist with Edward Norton and Paul Giamatti.
Yep.
And Jessica
Also
Biel.
a good one.
So we watched that again. Which was really, really, really cool. I'm a sucker for movies that are really interesting and they make you pay attention. Like you have to sit there and take in all of the details. And when you do that, you still don't see the answer coming, but it makes all of that watching that you did really shine in retrospect when you see all of the small things that they laid in the midst of the movie and it all really comes together at the end. I fucking love movies like that. So yeah, another classic.
Indeed. Okay, let's making sure I didn't make an error on my script here, but I'll get to that in a minute. So yeah, my quick what you watching. So Ryan, 2 weeks ago, for those who are listening, I discussed getting back into the Bloodborne game.
Mm-hmm.
And last we left off in my Chronicles of Yarnum, is what I'm going to call it now. I was in the Forbidden Woods or Forest or whatever, getting beat up by snake boys. Just was it today? It was yesterday. Just yesterday, Ryan, I defeated the Shadows of Yarnum on my third attempt.
Oh, yes, the fucking
the Nazguls, basically.
The ring raids, the Nazgul.
I'm gonna say, so the first phase is easy. The second phase is not bad. It's when you get down to the last one, he summons those giant snakes. That's fucking bullshit.
See, you gotta kill that dude before he summons those last ones. You just gotta beat the shit out of him.
It's hard to do, though, when he's shooting fire at me, man.
Yeah, there is an easier way to do it. It involves like the amount, like the order that you take them out in. But yeah, the first time you fight those guys is always
Yeah.
rough because you get the first one down, and then of course I, being a moron, the first time I fought him, I had finished the other two, and I was so pumped, and I went to go at the second one, and then he just stopped, and I was just like, wait, what's happening? And I fucking watched as he summoned 3 giant snakes to eat me. I was just like, well, that's my own damn fault.
Well, and what sucks too is that what was it? It took me my third attempt to figure out the best strategy, which is to use my Hunter's Axe to do the most damage to the first two. Do my Hunter's Axe to get my damage out as much as possible for the first 2 phases. And then, when I'm about to enter the third phase, go to my cane whip, my threaded cane, and just fucking go faster attacks, more bleed damage, and all that stuff on them. And that actually worked a lot better for the final weapon for me.
Nice, dude. Nice. Good. That's a good method of thinking.
But yeah, and now I'm stuck in Castle Canehurst.
Oh!
Bloodlicker beasts.
No!
Fuck them. They're the worst.
Oh, they are the worst. I'm so sorry.
I'm debating if I want to go back to turn tail and go to Brookenworth first, or if I want to try to push my way through this first. I don't know what to do, but I'll play around with it a bit more. 2 weeks, maybe, you'll see me update where we're at in Bloodborne. But yeah, that's where I'm at now.
This is a fun segment, man. Please keep us abreast. I definitely want to.
It's definitely more fun than I thought it'd be.
I've been telling you, man. This game is goofy.
Speaking of fun, let's get to our episode for the week. Gentlemen, the end is nigh, for apocalypse has fallen upon the Disneymation. Exit Apocalypse, that is. Released in 2016 and directed by, pedophile, Bryan Singer, allegedly. The film was written by Simon Kinberg and the alleged, pedophile, Bryan Singer. The film would go on to gross a worldwide total of $553,934,000, which, again, about 3 times what it cost. Not bad. Not bad. The cast includes the names you're all familiar with, and a few new ones. Nicholas Hoult, Jennifer Lawrence, Sophie Turner, Lucas Till, Ty Sheridan, Cody Smith-McPhee, Ben Hardy, Alexandra Shipp, Olivia Munn, Rose Byrne, Evan Peters, my favorite personally, Oscar Isaacs, James McAvoy, and the original metal bender, Michael Fassbender. No awards, actually, for this movie. I don't think anyone is surprised by that, so let's just move over to the fun facts. Why don't we?
Well, let's have some fun with it. The first fun fact: this film was to be subtitled "Age of Apocalypse" after the comic of the same name, but was changed to just Apocalypse for the more ominous ring to it, as well as to avoid comparison with Avengers: Age of Ultron, which came out in 2015, along with Transformers: Age of Extinction in 2014, and Age of Adeline in 2015. There were a lot of ages going on around those times.
Yeah, I don't want to confuse this with my romance movie about a girl who can't die. I would not want to confuse this with that.
Yeah. Next up, in the comics, the Age of Apocalypse affected the Marvel Universe immensely and resulted in the deaths of prominent characters such as Peter Parker, who never becomes Spider-Man, Namor, Clint Barton, Thor, Carol Danvers, Frank Castle, Victor Von Doom, Susan Storm, Ben Grimm, and many, many others. In contrast, Gwen Stacy, who famously dies in the main universe, is alive. The Age of Apocalypse is an alternate reality identified as Earth 295. And last but not least, particularly with Psylocke, Nightcrawler, and Cyclops. Wow, that's those names. The outfits and the characters' looks were designed to pay homage to their comic book counterparts, differently from the past films where in the X-Men universe used standard black leather uniforms. Cyclops' costume is actually taken from Jim Lee's blue and yellow design in the 90s, which was really it was interesting to see the throwbacks there as well.
Yep, I think this new trilogy's been much better with the throwbacks, for better or worse.
Oh yeah.
Let's get some initial thoughts out of the way. Robbie, we haven't talked much yet. What do you got? What's your initial thoughts here?
Going into this movie, I was pretty excited because Apocalypse is one of my favorite villains in the X-Men universe. First off, Mr. Sinister is number one for me. We will get to him later. Apocalypse, I was really excited. You know, at the end of Days of Future Past, they had, you know, the little post-credit scene showing young Apocalypse, and I was like, hell yeah, we're going to have Apocalypse next movie. So I went into this movie, and then they cast Oscar Isaac, like we talked about before. I'm like, hell yeah, great actor. This will be awesome. And then it just was a huge letdown. I don't know. It was fine, but it wasn't good. And it was messy, and I don't know. Just the whole thing itself didn't really make a whole lot of sense. It just was a really kind of crappy movie, and just very disappointing. Disappointing is the right word. That's what I'm going to go with.
Yeah, I'll count into that. I've never outright hated this movie. I don't think it's any good, though. I think it's messier than Days of Future Past. I think the dialogue is very flat in a lot of areas. I think Bryan Singer being back with the writing team actually does kind of hint at just how wrong the direction this movie went. It's very exposition heavy, like X1 was.
X.
Yeah. And it has a lot of the worst problems of the X-Men franchise rolled into this movie. And, I mean, if you look at the director, if you look at the other movies he's done, you can kind of see why that might be the case. I think the effects here are very decent, and there are moments that actually do, for me, work, but I don't think they save this movie like they did in Future Past.
Yeah.
Yeah. My thinking is along the lines with you, gentlemen. I think there are elements of it that are really, really cool. I think some of the effects, particularly around Apocalypse and his excuse me, and turning everybody into the Horsemen and creating the pyramid, I thought that was pretty cool. There are some interesting set pieces, but overall, this movie takes on a really big comic book villain that I don't think it is equipped to handle, or at least this writing team wasn't equipped really to handle.
Not at all.
While also trying to introduce the young original cast of the X-Men, so we get to see the younger versions of Jean Grey, of Cyclops, and all this. So I feel like it tried to juggle too many balls in the air, and it dropped a bunch of them. Some of them it caught, and there are some scenes that were really cool, but overall, I think, it's a pretty big mess.
Brian,
it makes me worried.
Bryan Singer, stop dropping your balls everywhere. Make a good movie, why don't you? Okay. Well, that in mind, I have a synopsis here for you, gentlemen. Are you boys ready for this?
This should be good.
A long time ago, when the pyramids were still young, ancient Egyptian kings played a game of great and terrible power. Eventually, they were replaced and killed by Un-Sabanur and his 4 mutant homeboys. They ruled over Egypt until humans grew tired of their bullshit and sent them to the Shadow Realm. I mean, buried under a pyramid for thousands of years. Fast forward thousands of years, and that's when Moira McTaggart accidentally awakens him from his slumber, sending tremors throughout the world. Sabanur seeks out new homeboys as he plans to take over the world back from the humans. Meanwhile, Xavier is running a modestly successful school for gifted youngsters, and just admitted Scott Summers into the program. He is somehow Alex's brother by 20 years, but whatever. We meet Jean, who is already dropping hints that there will be another attempt at the Phoenix film. Oh boy. And Mystique returns to the mansion with a young Nightcrawler to speak to Xavier about Magneto killing more people. Oh, and Magneto killed more people because he needed a new motivation for this movie. Yeah. Xavier finds out that Moira is connected to the Tremors and seeks her out. She tells of the world's first mutant, Ivan Ooze, and his vaguely established mutant powers. Meanwhile, En Sabin Ooze is recruiting new homeboys. He has a young Storm, played by a more talented young actress, someone named Psylocke who promises to get him stronger mutants. Angel, an example of her breaking that promise, and Magneto, fresh off the dead family train once again, and needing another cause to fight for. Xavier uses Cerebro to find them, but things fuck up when Apocalypse invades Xavier's mind and sends all the nukes into orbit. We'll get back to that. Apocalypse then warps his team to the X-Mansion, kidnaps Xavier, and leaves Alex Summers to try to stop them, but he causes an explosion that almost kills everyone. Thankfully, Quicksilver is stopping by for his own side plot we don't really have time to cover right now, and proceeds to break the film once again. But we can't rest now because William Stryker's here to kidnap the mutants in search of Xavier. Wait, what the fuck? This raises so many goddamn questions. Cyclops, Jean, and Nightcrawler break everyone out. There's a Wolverine cameo, moving on to Apocalypse, who has built himself a new temple and plans to take over Xavier's body in a manner similar to Orochimaru from Naruto. In doing so, he gains Xavier's sonic powers. Does this also mean he gains Xavier's busted legs? Mystique devises a plan to rescue Xavier and stop Apocalypse and his boys from taking over the world. Fighting happens. Angel is killed, unsurprisingly. Magneto is convinced to switch sides because reasons. Nightcrawler saves Xavier before the transference happens, and then everyone is forced to dogpile on Apocalypse because we can't script actual choreography in these films. Jean unleashes the Phoenix, but only for a little bit. Just a taste. Just a little bit. Apocalypse is killed, and the kids return to the X-Mansion to begin proper training in the Danger Room in a newly built mansion. Post-credits tease Mr. Sinister, who has yet to appear in this franchise.
Yes.
Gentlemen, I was a little salty for some things, but what do y'all think of that one?
That was good.
It's a good synopsis. I wish I could just hear your synopsis rather than actually watch the movie at some times.
Yeah.
Some days I do
We'll
too.
just have thoughts on this synopsis.
But yeah, so Psylocke broke her promise to Apocalypse in that one pretty hard. Here's some strong mutants for you. You sure about this one?
Look. Okay, look. I personally really liked Archangel. Like when like Warren Worthington III gets seduced into Apocalypse's service and replaces his super nice angelic wings for these bomb ass metal ones.
It's one of the best
in the
outfits.
comics, I really like that shit. And I like the way they made it look. But you're right, he's not a particularly strong mutant.
He's never has been.
It's a dude with wings. It's just a dude with wings.
And going off that more, I thought about it when the metal was going over his wings. I'm thinking to myself, why does metal instantly make him quote-unquote better? Wouldn't the metal being significantly heavy and make it harder for him to fly? And wouldn't it also be really hard to fucking move in those things?
It's more sleek.
It looks more boss. That's why.
That's why. That's 100%.
Okay, so
look, if Falcon can do that
but
then surely this
But in the MCU, though, if we're going off that, Falcon also has, jet kind of things in his suit, whereas this guy's just got fucking metal-coated wings.
Also, Falcon's is actually an aeronautically designed light carbon fiber type.
That's true.
Thing. Yeah, I understand, but we ain't here for your logic, Aaron. We're here to see bomb-ass metal blade wings that throw knives.
It's just fan service, bro. It doesn't have to make sense.
Oh, okay. You know what? You're right. Fan services don't have to make sense. That's why we had jiggly titties in a zombie anime. Yep.
That's also why we had Psylocke. Now, I love Olivia Munn. I love
They didn't give her anything to do, though.
I don't... They didn't give her much shit to do. B, I just don't like the look of Psylocke in this movie.
Yeah,
Nope.
It just didn't look right? I don't know.
So-
I don't know the best way to explain it. I agree
there's
with
a
you.
scene in the movie when Apocalypse first shows up to meet Psylocke, and she has the psychic blade thing up to his neck. It is the worst CGI-looking blade thing I've ever seen in a movie.
Yes, that's exactly right. It's too long. Like, cause so in the comic books, it comes out like a glowing blade extending from her fist,
Yeah.
like a guitar of some sort, which is cool. And then there are also some renditions where she actually turns it into like a fucking katana, which is also cool. I feel like they tried to do both and just make it this really, really long pointy beam that just comes out of her fist in whichever way she decides to point it, which is dumb.
And
the only time it looked really, really good is when she used it as a whip. That was boss.
When it was in the sword form, in that one scene I'm talking about, the size looked weird, the angle looked weird, none of it really matched the scene in question, and I'm just sitting here looking at this like, okay, Star Wars got this right back in the fucking 70s. How are you guys messing this up now in fucking 2018?
Oh, that's funny shit.
Again, all love to Olivia Munn. She did her own stunts. I respect the hell out of her, and I loved her in the newsroom. But they did not do her right in this movie. They just did.
Nope.
Yeah, her character just sucked. It just, I don't know. Like, it should have been way better.
She was also a liar too, obviously.
Well,
yeah. I mean, I'm not mad at making Betsy Braddock into like a shitty person. Like, that's cool. That would actually be an interesting character.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna do that, you have to give her more shit to do. You have to give her more lines.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I agree.
Speaking on people who didn't have no fucking lines, can we talk about the talented young actress that they got to play Storm for all of 4 lines?
She looked so cool,
oh my God.
And she delivered those few lines really well, and it's just so sad.
But there were 4 of them!
But she delivered them so well, and it's like, I want to give her more credit because Halle Berry kind of was just milquetoast the first 4 movies we've seen her in.
Yes.
Yeah, it makes me sad. Like, I felt sorry for her because she with a better script and better direction, she could murder.
Oh yeah, of course,
she would kill it. Absolutely kill it.
I really hope she returns for Dark Phoenix because I would love to see her get like 5 more lines in that movie.
Yeah,
she probably has 4 again.
She had to negotiate for that extra line. Like she had to lose some money so that she could get like another piece of dialogue.
Aaron, I think I saw her in the trailer, but isn't it crazy that Storm, who's probably one of the most important and most powerful mutants, isn't really a part of these movies? Like, besides just kind of being on the side.
Well, that's been her story for all the movies.
The idea of
you know what I mean.
The initial idea of having Storm be a horseman of the apocalypse filled my heart with glee when I heard that it was happening. I'm like, yo, okay, so we're gonna get dark, edgy Storm that's running around as a horseman of apocalypse. Okay, sign me the fuck up. I'm ready. And they dropped it. They dropped it, man. It was such disappointment. Robbie, you put it perfectly at the beginning. It was a disappointment.
Yeah, it's just disappointing. And specifically, 80s Storm, in the comics, had that mohawk. Yeah, I mean, like, it was supposed to be like, you know, she's this edgy badass in the 80s. But, oh well.
Speaking of the 80s, I have a question now.
Oh, yeah. I was going to ask us if you didn't have it.
I think I know where you're going with this. Hear me out.
Yes.
This movie takes place in 1983, 21 years after the events of First Class, and yet no one looks remotely older in that time. Alex has a younger brother who's in high school right now, who is like got to be 20 years younger than him somehow. And there's even a line dropped by Xavier to Moira saying, "You haven't aged a day." Fuck! What happened?
All right. Did you? I don't know, since I don't think you guys have dropped it yet. Your First Class. Did you specifically talk about Alex Summers?
Yeah.
and how he's actually supposed to be Cyclops' younger brother. Because that bothered me.
I mean, I can let that slide for this. I can let it slide for this.
Yeah, you just flip it. But like you just said here, yeah, he'd be like...
He'd be 38?
35? Or 38, yeah. And he has a younger brother that's like 16. Makes zero sense.
That's the problem with doing a trilogy based on like periodic, based in like as period pieces, like in like the timeline of Earth, because it's like, all right, we're gonna do the Cuban Missile Crisis. All right, now we're gonna do JFK assassination and Vietnam. You have to age that amount of time though. Okay, now we're gonna go to 80s. You have to age.
Yeah.
Like, it was just so blatantly...
What do you have, the Fountain of Youth? What the fuck?
Like, I can excuse Mystique. They mentioned it in her movie that, oh, you don't age very fast because of your genetic makeup. I'm like, okay, I can accept that. How does everyone else, including Moira McTaggart, the only non-mutant here, get away with this?
She's literally human. She has zero excuse.
I mean, hell, what you call it? Charles Xavier looks younger, honestly, in this movie, and because in Days of Future Past, when he was going through his drug phase, you know, he had the long hair, shaggy. He had the beard. He had the round sunglasses. He was getting his Colonel Dan look on. He looked like he was going through some shit. And then when you cleaned him up and you shaved him, you gave him a nice haircut, and you put on a blazer, all of a sudden he looks 10 years younger. That's the wrong direction. He needs to be getting older, guys.
Also, I want to bring this up real quick, because I don't think it's obvious until you pay attention. So in First Class, when he first uses Cerebro, you see all these mutants around the world. And you do see a little Easter egg for Storm, who's got to be 13 in that movie at that point. Maybe 14. And here she is now, looking like she's maybe 16.
Yep. Time. Fucking Cagliostro. Don't worry about it. Strange is fucking with the time stone, guys. Don't worry about it.
Well, it's like, you know, they try to fix everything with Days of Future Past. They basically get somewhat of a clean slate. And then it's just like they forgot what the hell they were doing. Like, we set up the timeline to be specifically this. We're going to do this now. Like, they forgot they made First Class, you know? So, it's just...
Well, they didn't, though, because there's flashbacks in the movie to First Class. They purposely used them.
First Class, yeah. But that's what I mean. Like, some of the writers, or whoever wrote this, like, one person remembered that and the other person did it. And, like, they matched the movie together. Almost. I don't know.
It's so bad.
I'm trying to figure it out myself because I was mind blown too. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense.
Well, it's funny. We were sitting there, and Amanda pointed out to me that none of them look older and supposed to be in the 80s. I'm like, you know what? You're right. And then he drops the line to Morgan McTaggart. I'm like, fuck you, movie. You can't get away with this.
Like you can't poke at the fourth wall and play coy with your own fucking like chronological inaccuracies. That like it's funny if you poke fun at other movies doing stupid shit, but when it's your stupid shit, that's not how the joke works. You're making fun of yourself now.
Unless you're Deadpool. He has earned the right to do that.
Unless you're Deadpool.
Yeah, but that's his character, you know.
I could go on for that for a while.
Why? So this is a question, actually, and I don't know the answer, so if you guys can enlighten me, please do. Why did they take the project away from Matthew Vaughn and give it back to Bryan Singer?
So Matthew Vaughn signed on for Kingsman, right?
Oh, he did, didn't he?
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, and they conflicted, didn't it?
Yep, it conflicted because they wanted him to, and he decided to make that.
He was a much better fit for this franchise. He should have stayed.
I know.
Because I was just sitting here thinking, I'm like, First Class was amazing, and the next two movies, they seem to lose everything great about First Class. What changed? Oh.
That's what changed. Yep, well, 100%. I agree.
rest assured, guys, the next movie, Dark Phoenix, does not have Bryan Singer attached to it, so we may be in a positive space.
It also involves the guy that wrote The Last Stand directing it, so I'm not super pumped.
I mean,
I'll still watch
it can't be worse than this, can it?
I don't know.
Don't jinx it, please. Please don't jinx it. Please don't jinx it.
Yeah.
It's Simon Kinberg who's doing Dark Phoenix. Just don't jinx it. Just don't jinx it. We'll just deal it. We'll just deal with it.
Yeah.
Okay, so quick round of old versus new. Cyclops, Jean, Storm, and Nightcrawler. All recast, all new characters in this movie. How do they stack up to the originals in the first trilogy? What do you guys think?
Well, they gave Cyclops more to do, which is nice.
He feels like
that
a
was
character.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, he feels like a character. There's a part of him that feels like it's like a bit of a dick, but that's okay because it's character. I'll take it.
What do you think about Jean? I heard a lot of complaints about her from a buddy of mine. I don't personally hate her.
I don't know. I think it's just weird because you see Sophie Turner and you just think of Sansa Stark, and it's just hard to get out of that mode for me. I think she did okay, honestly.
Yeah, I couldn't point at anything that made her character like really stand out. And it's I'm also falling into the Game of Thrones trap because small spoiler alert, but Sansa doesn't really come into like her own until like the later half, like the later third of the seventh season and into the current season, like where we actually see Sansa be like her character in the story, which is really, really cool. But I feel like I'm just getting introduced to that, like the part of Sophie Turner that actually has like a really interesting take on characters.
Yep.
So I didn't really see an interesting take on Jean. It mostly just like, here's Sophie Turner. She's a very pretty redhead. She is young. She is Jean Grey. That's it. Cool. I'm like, oh, okay, sure.
And I don't know how much of that falls on her acting or the directing. I'd like to know. I'm hoping we'll get a clearer vision of that in the next film, maybe.
Yeah, I think so. I think with Dark Phoenix, like since this is literally her movie, we're gonna see how much range she has. I'm hoping. So I'm hoping she'll get to press the boundaries a little bit and really, really see. Like, I'm hoping we'll see another side of her.
Yep.
Yeah.
We already touched on Storm a little bit. Do we all agree that this Storm is better than Halle Berry, even for what little we got?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will take young, edgy, yet inexplicably mute Jean. Storm over Halle Berry, and I love me some Halle Berry. But yeah, they didn't really know what the fuck they were doing with her in the old ones. So.
Yep. That's an easy one. Nightcrawler is the tricky one. Better or worse? What do you guys think?
I like his use of comic relief. I do. I don't know if I like him better than the original one because I like how pious. I know they still have him being Catholic and they make references to that. But I loved that faith was a core aspect of the original Nightcrawler, and it makes sense because he's older in that one, and if you're getting a younger Nightcrawler, he's obviously not going to be as mature.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, I think since they gave him more to do and more interaction with people, I'm going to say I like the young Nightcrawler because they're actually utilizing the character more.
I can agree to that a bit. I actually like the new design a bit, too. I think it's a nicer, sleeker design. I think it looks cleaner. I overall like it, I think. Better the new version.
But the older version and the White House scene alone, it's one of my favorite scenes in the whole series.
No doubt.
That is hard to top.
Right?
That's really hard to top.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the best parts of that movie, so. But
I mean,
I agree.
action wise, yes, I will take the old Nightcrawler any day of the week. But
Yeah, because I was.
like character wise, I think
Yeah.
they're doing more with the younger.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Let's see here. I guess I want to skip ahead real quick. I want to make sure we cover this bit before we get too far. Because if you look at the list, guys, there's a shit ton of questions I wrote up that I really probably should have restrained myself on. Okay.
Oh, it's tough. There's a lot.
So, I want to get to this before we get too far, because I know if we don't do it now, it'll be like an hour in and we have not covered it yet. So, fucking William Stryker. I
was wondering how
five
much we were gonna talk
problems
about
with
this.
William Stryker in this movie alone.
5 problems. All right, let us hear them, sir.
Number one, and we'll address them piece by piece, but we'll try to be quick. First, he finds the mansion here. Why does he need Magneto to help find it next to?
All right.
Because
And I get time travel shenanigans just happened, but it's still William Stryker. He still shouldn't have this information.
So maybe with the timeline change, he does, but they don't show it.
Ah, so the tell don't show. Got it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what other explanation there is, honestly. But you're not right. You're not wrong.
Tying
damn
back to the previous film, actually, last time we saw Mystique was Stryker. So how did the real Stryker get back into this place, and how did Wolverine end up there with him?
That's been bothering me since I watched this.
Mystique sold his ass out. That's literally the only explanation they can
And then why? Why would
Yeah,
you
I
do
don't
that?
know why.
I don't have the answers for you. But
It's
based on what they've set up, that is literally the only logical conclusion.
It's like they forgot they did that in the previous movie.
They're just like,
they
oh
thought-
shit, we didn't edit that out.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
because they were probably going to go a different way, and they 100% right. And I think they just forgot to edit out Mystique's eyes. It was actually supposed to be Stryker. And they're like, oh shit.
I feel like Bryan Singer has short-term memory, and that's how these films are so fucking slopped together like they are.
That would also make sense.
Number 3. How does he actually know about Xavier and his powers, and why is he only just now acting on this information?
Now that I don't have an explanation for, because that's a great question.
My guess is because of the huge showing of mutant power in Days of Future Past, like at the end with the end set piece, and you had Xavier and Mystique doing their thing in front of like the President of the United States. So I think from that, yes, like the knowledge that Xavier fucking exists is definitely in the higher echelons.
That's fair. I'll give you that. But then I have a fourth question for you, Ryan. So he has all this technology that wasn't even present in X2 or anything like that, like the ability to negate the power of mutants. Granted, this idea probably didn't exist in 2002 filmmaking, but doesn't this feel like a lot of the prequel problems Star Wars had all over again?
I'm not gonna say you're wrong, man.
And then my final question. Does anyone else feel like this is just a shoehorned in way to give Wolverine a cameo and have Bryan Singer remind us of his only good X-Men movie?
Yes.
110%. Yes.
But I might be in the minority, but I loved it. Because it was actually...
Really?
It was actually like how he escaped from Weapon X. Like with the helmet, like it was an actual like callback to that. Plus it leads to the post-credit scene, which we're going to talk about, hopefully, in why I want to talk about
a bit.
Yeah, but yeah, it was shoehorned in. It was just fan service. I get it, but I still liked it.
And I get you. I'm fine with someone liking it. It just, to me, I'm watching this, I'm like, this all could have been cut, and it would have, A, saved some runtime, and B, you could have given Storm like 10 more lines of dialogue then.
This is true. I'm not saying you're wrong. They could have had this in a different movie.
Yeah.
Like
it just pulls away
X2,
from the main
but-
beats of the film, and it's just so
Yeah.
weird that it's here, and I don't get why.
Yeah, it's definitely just shoved in there.
Also, it hella showcased the age gap between Jean Grey and Wolverine.
Oh,
That
yeah.
made that icky
Ugh.
as fuck. I was like, oh no!
Yeah,
I feel gross.
Yeah, but you gotta remember, Wolverine's lived a long
True,
long time.
his age
So-
gap to anyone alive is still pretty much up
weird.
there.
It's still weird. It's
I
still
get
weird.
it, man,
Yeah.
but Jean's 16.
Yeah.
That's gross.
He doesn't
man.
remember seeing her there, so like when he sees her later on, it's the first time.
I don't see age, Ryan. I
See, now-
smell it.
Now, Hugh Jackman flirting with Famke Janssen, yes, 100%. I'm down. Let's go. Hugh Jackman flirting with Sophie Turner.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, so let's jump a bit real quick, because, Robbie, you brought it up, and I want to make sure we cover what everyone wants to talk about real quick. There's a post-credit scene teasing the Essex Corporation, Mr. Sinister's corporation. Yes. Do you think we'll see that in Dark Phoenix? Or do you think it was a reference to a different movie, like Deadpool
I do not.
2? Or do you think it's a not worthwhile post-credit scene like the Super Mario Bros. Movie?
I think it's a lot like the end of Justice League, which we discussed, where you're setting up this really cool thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's never going to happen, which is unfortunate because they were. I think the whole part of it was they were setting up. You have young Cyclops, you have young Jean, and Mr. Sinister's obsessed with them. As they grow older, and they could have went with that storyline a little bit. 2 or 3 movies down the road, and that's probably what they were thinking. But we're gonna have Dark Phoenix, and that's gonna be the end of it. So I'm disappointed because I love Mr. Sinister. My hope is, like you said, Deadpool 2, they somehow factor it in because Mr. Sinister does have a relationship with Deadpool.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I don't know if anything's gonna happen with it because he's one of my favorite villains.
He's always been a weird, interesting one to me. I've always been curious if they're ever going to do it in a movie, because he just is a little odd, but not, like, bad odd. Just something I don't expect him to be in a movie, but then when you hint at him like this, I'm like, okay, let's see what you got. Let's do it.
Well, just, his character design is one of my favorite designs of any villain. And
He looks like a vampire.
I don't know if you get... Yeah. I don't know if you guys saw, the fan art of Bryan Cranston as Mr. Sinister.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, I was fully on board. I was like, let's make this movie now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but...
To be fair, though, Robbie, you can cast Bryan Cranston as any villain for any movie, and I'm down for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bryan Cranston's in this movie? Oh, well, I'm going to see it.
Yeah.
That's the end of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not a
That's
question.
fair.
It's a statement.
Yeah.
Okay. Looping back here real quick. What else do I got here? Okay. I don't care for this version of Apocalypse. I actually kind of find him to be a bit boring.
That was the mildest way you could.
I was going to say that's...
I don't care for this person.
That's really nice. I was going to say he was dog shit.
I'm trying to softball it in there for someone else to be hateful. I dogged on William Stryker for 5 questions. It's someone else's turn.
Yeah, that's true. I hate this version of Apocalypse so much. Oscar Isaac is awesome. Apocalypse is awesome. This should have been awesome, but it was boring. Apocalypse should be one of the scariest villains, most powerful villains that exist in the X-Men universe. I mean, they could have made a multi-movie arc based off of Apocalypse. That's how badass he is. And it was just looking at Ivan Ooze the whole time, and he didn't really understand what he wanted, really. I mean, you did, but you didn't. And he got beat the way he did, and I don't know. It was just...
I remember growing up watching X-Men Evolution, and I remember there was a whole season dedicated to characters finding all these different pieces to figure out who was Apocalypse, what was Apocalypse, where he was, and building up to this big series finale where he finally shows up and kills Xavier, kills Magneto, Mystique. Was Storm one of them? I think it was Storm was the other one. And all of them are dead. They come back as like undead-looking horseman characters. It was so epic and cool. And this one's just it felt like a limp dick of a movie.
Yeah, it was just boring. It just there wasn't any. I don't know. It just he seemed like a cookie cutter purple villain. There was nothing to him.
He seemed like a villain of the week, which is 100% what should not be said about Apocalypse. Like, when this dude shows up, the world is in danger of ending. But I did not feel that with this guy.
So this ties to something I pitched to Ryan a couple weeks back, Robbie, so I'll pitch it to you real quick.
Okay.
So, and this is a different pitch for my other how the X-Men get in the MCU. This is different. This is what you do with the X-Men once they're in the MCU. So, my pitch to Ryan was that instead of doing a bunch of X-Men movies, you have a streaming series. Maybe multiple, depending on how you want to do it, like older X-Men, younger X-Men, and maybe another series for villain X-Men, however you want to do it. But you have a streaming series that builds up these moments, that builds up these villains that come up. And then when you have a big event like Apocalypse, like Days of Future Past, that's your movie, but you've spent an entire season's worth of streaming shows building up to it, so that way you aren't spending an hour and a half of your 2-hour runtime setting up the big moments. You just have it ready to go and are ready to shoot with them right away. What do you think?
I mean, that makes sense. I mean, that's excuse me. I mean, that's kind of how comics are built. You have a running arc before you have a big event, whether it be something like Infinity Crisis that involves everybody, and that would be the proper way to do it, because then you could actually flesh out characters. You actually have a relationship with them, understand them, as well as you get to know the villains too. And then, I mean, look at it this way, like in the Marvel Universe. You had all these movies to get to know everybody, other villains, and you had this overarching, plot in the background about these Infinity Stones. That's why Infinity War paid off the way it did. Because it was almost like we said, but it was with movies. Unfortunately, you can't do I don't know if that model is easily done going forward, but your idea is great, I think. Yeah.
And the reason,
I mean, that would be awesome.
And the reason I pitch it is because there are so many X-Men. And as we've seen with this, Days of Future Past, X3, they like to shove in as many X-Men as possible to get their money's worth. And that's not a bad thing. I get it. You want to show off everyone's favorite mutants because there's so many of them. But it's just so hard to do in a 2.5 hour runtime with over 20 characters, and we've only just met 16 of them.
Yeah, that's true. No, I mean it's fair because it's hard to do an event without build up.
Yeah,
and
I think it's a really good idea. I think the only thing that stands in the way of it is that it's hard to translate stars from TV series into a full-length feature film, because if it was easily done, then Grant Gustin, who plays the Flash on TV, would have been in the Justice League movie. You literally have the perfect Flash right there.
Yes,
but the show in and of itself had been running for a couple of years. He's well liked. He has a really good understanding of the character, and WB, if WB really wanted to consolidate their shit, they had a perfect opportunity to do it there. But I think there are issues that I think at least I'm not comprehending that stops that kind of crossover from happening.
You are not wrong. Jessica Jones and Daredevil and whatnot. But I wouldn't argue against your case for Grant Gustin. Yes, he should have been Flash. Absolutely. The reason that he wasn't Flash wasn't necessarily because of conflicts between TV show and movies. It's because the Warner Brothers executives are elitist fucks who can't give a chance to anyone who does anything with TV. Otherwise, Paul Dini and what's the name again? Bruce Timm. There we go. Bruce Timm and Paul Dini would be running the damn film enterprise instead of anyone else. But they aren't doing that because they're idiots.
This is true. Well, Yeah, I mean, you're definitely right on that. I 100% agree. But so with this new Disney Plus streaming service coming out, they're actually doing short series with movie stars already, because they're going to do that Scarlet Witch series. Who else? Loki's getting his own
Falcon
thing.
Series, WandaVision.
Yeah. So I mean, they're almost getting to that point, or they might get to that point where this could be possible, right? And you just have them.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
Would Disney surprise us before? They might do it again. Let's see. Go ahead. I'm going to look for another question before we move on.
No, I was just going to say, this would be a good thing for Disney now that they've acquired this. You're getting people to buy your service because they want to see that leading into these feature films, and everything's involved. So, I mean, it's more money for them, too.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, that's a great idea, I think.
Okay. I don't have any specific questions I want to hit up on, necessarily. So if there's anything you guys want to hit up on that I may have missed, or that's something that I didn't think about, please say so now before I move on.
Well, the Quicksilver scene, it was still great. I think you had this written somewhere.
I mentioned it somewhere.
It was still great, but it... Okay, yeah. Yeah, and it was awesome again, but at the same time, it still kind of felt like we already did this. And I think they're probably going to do it in the next movie, too, because it's the most popular part of the movie, so... I don't know. I just wish they could find a different way. I mean, it was still different, but the same. I don't know.
If you make the Quicksilver scene center around combat instead of, rescuing people, you might be able to do a different dynamic with it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
So I have a slightly bigger question. What do you think this movie's biggest problem? Well, no. What do you think the new franchises, like this new
Bryan
series,
Singer by a long country
what
mile.
do you think its biggest problem is?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely one of the biggest problems.
If you want me to get specific within the context of the films, after First Class, they're trying way too hard to juggle too many ideas at once.
Okay.
I think it's that they, kind of like what Aaron was saying here, they try to fix what the problem was when they did First Class with a new director in Matthew Vaughn. And then it's like they got to Days of Future Past and they try to do the same things that were problems before, trying to jam too many characters in there and trying to do these big epic storylines instead of just focusing on a good story. Because Days of Future Past is a huge classic X-Men story. Age of Apocalypse is a huge X-Men story. Dark Phoenix, which is next, is a huge classic X-Men story. That's like, I get why they're doing it, but you don't necessarily have to do that. Because, I mean, look at some of these Marvel movies, they're not... Infinity War, obviously, that's based off a story, but, some of the... Yeah, Ant-Man's not it's just a story, and it's fun, and it's easy to follow. You don't have to do a specific comic book storyline.
Or
try to make it fit into a movie.
These characters in the comics, these X-Men characters, they're just people in their world, and they live normal people lives, and they aren't always saving the day every day.
Yeah.
Show movies where the stakes aren't the universe or the world or the time stream. Make it something simple, like, oh hey, that person's going to die. Let's save them.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, the X-Men have, a big part of their whole thing is they're not accepted. I mean, you could focus on them dealing with being an outcast, anything like that too. I mean, that's a big part of their stories too. Yeah.
So I do agree with you guys. I think my take on it is, and again, it definitely stems back to Bryan Singer. I feel like, Aaron, you hit it right on the head as soon as you said it. I was just like, fuck, I had like this whole thing I was gonna say, and he's just like, oh, it's that guy. It's that one dude. Like, oh, yeah, you're right. You're actually right. But I would say that since Days of Future Past, I feel like the new movies have gotten too concerned with the old movies. And it's frustrating because there are parts of that I like, but there are parts of it that I think do a disservice to it. Like, Days of Future Past was literally a series of contrivances to try and both connect to the old movies and eradicate the old movies. In Apocalypse, you have a bunch of callbacks to, like, oh, we're doing our own thing, but here's Alkali Lake, and here's Hugh Jackman getting to do his Weapon X thing. Don't worry about it. Like, we're doing our own thing, but we're gonna end the movie by reprising, like, that iconic conversation between Xavier and Eric at the very end of the original X-Men movie. You know, and in Dark Phoenix, we're going to be doing our own thing, but we're literally taking the exact same, like, suburban house neighborhood and whatnot from Last Stand to have Jean lose her shit in again. Yep. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like it's trying to go two directions at once, and I feel like, especially because you like you said, Bryan Singer, but I feel like he's both trying to do something new and also trying to keep alive his original works, and I feel like you should do one or the other.
I think you put it very well. I think that sums it up very nicely.
Which frustrates me because the conversation at the end was literally my favorite part of the movie. The fact that they called back to that final conversation. I was like, yes, okay, that's a good ending. But the principle of it is irritating.
My favorite part was the cage fight, because I'm like, oh, this could be a very good plot for a... Oh, we're not doing this? Okay.
Nope. And of course, Nightcrawler can't teleport through electrified fences. What do you think he is? Jumping in and out of space-time?
But he can see through it, though. He should be able to jump.
Shush. It's Sparkles. He can't jump through it.
Not Sparkles. No.
Oh, man.
If y'all want to reach out to us and tell us why you think sparkles are the worst things in the world, you can reach out to us on Tumblr, Twitter, or Facebook. And if you really want to tell us what you think of this movie, or Bryan Singer, or just X-Men in general, Ryan, where can they email us at?
They can email us at teleportationbeatswings every fucking time at Sorry. They can they can teleport us. They can email us at evacstation@gmail.com.
Yep, just teleport over that link, boys. It's fine.
Please teleport us over there, please.
And before we get too much longer, I have another round of X-Men or bullshit.
All right. No more iBoys.
No more iBoys, actually. So today, gentlemen, the name of the game is X-Men character or a Transformer, round 2.
Oh, yes.
For those playing at home,
like
again, just to remind you, I say the name of what the thing is. I give it a power it may or may not have, and these boys got to determine if it's really an X-Men or if it's just some bullshit. Gentlemen, are you ready to play?
Yes.
I am.
The first one, and I should probably warn you right now, and you can decide which one of these it is later. One of these characters is both an X-Man and a Transformer.
You son of a bitch.
Trick question. Interesting. Okay.
Yep. Why do you do this to me?
Number 1, Hijack. can communicate with, command, and control multiple forms of machinery, either with voice command or nonverbal gestures.
I'm gonna go Transformer.
I'm gonna go with X-Men.
Okay.
Oh, already off to a different start. This will be very interesting.
Yeah.
This is gonna be tough.
Number 2, Skyjack. Can project consciousness
Fuck you, Aaron. No, fuck you. If they're all jacks, I'm gonna be very upset.
No, Ryan, there's a theme. Just you wait. Alright, so back to this. Skyjack can avian species. In doing so, she possesses their body and commands their actions.
X-Men. Has to be.
I'm gonna go with Transformer on that one.
Number 3, Lockdown. Uses electrical pulses to disrupt electronics and central nervous systems. Can also disrupt radio signals. Lockdown.
Yeah, I missed the name. Lockdown. Shit.
I'm gonna go with Transformer.
This is the worst because they all sound like Transformers.
Yeah, he's really mean with these, man.
You're good at this. Lockdown. I'm gonna go Transformer on that one too.
Okay, got 2
damn it.
guesses there. Number 4, Warlock. Can turn objects and beings into techno-organic matter, and can drain life energy from techno-organic matter.
X-Men.
Yeah, X-Men.
Alright, got double X-Men there. Number 5, Blind Spot. Can selectively absorb and store memories of others within her mind. Can keep them or give them to others via touch.
X-Men.
I'm gonna go Transformer on that.
Alrighty. Next one, and the last one before my tiebreaker. Can absorb and channel solar power, granting him flight as well as heat, projection, and concussive blasts.
That's X-Men.
I'm gonna say that's X-Men, but I'm also gonna say that's the double.
Ooh. I forgot about our double. Shit.
Alright, so Ryan's got his double locked in. Robbie, which...
I know that's an X-Men, but I think that might be... I think there might also be a Transformer like that.
So, Robbie, going back over the list here real quick, is there anything that you want me to go back over that might be double? That might be both? Or do you think it is what Ryan says?
I don't think it's Sunspot. What did I say Lockdown was? Did I say that was an X-Men?
Lockdown is number 3. You said that was BS. You said that was a Transformer.
Transformer. What was the power set again?
Uses electrical pulses to disrupt electronics and central nervous systems, and can also disrupt radio signals.
I'm going to say that one's both.
Okay. We've got 6 figures here. Let's see which one lines up for you boys. Number 1 is Hijack, and you both... I'm sorry, Robbie was bullshit, Ryan was X-Man. Ryan gets the point.
Yes!
Yeah. That Jack threw me off.
That was the plan. That was the plan.
Damn it.
Hijack. Skyjack. Man,
Yeah.
fuck. Okay.
Number 2 was Skyjack, and I have Ryan as BS and Robbie as X-Man. Robbie gets... Wait. Did I get that right? Let me see here real quick. Ryan also gets the point for this one. Had to double check and make sure I was reading this correctly. That's 2 Ryan, 0 Robbie. Let's see if number 3 can turn it around. Lockdown. Ryan called BS. Robbie said both. You both get 1 point. It is, in fact, a Transformer.
Should have stuck with my guns there. Damn it.
Number 4, Warlock. You both said X-Men. You are both correct.
Yes.
I knew that one for sure.
Number 5 was Blind Spot. Is bullshit. I have Robbie down as X-Men, and Robbie is correct.
Yes.
What? Selectively absorb memories? What?
I thought that was a really cool power when I read
Yeah.
it.
That's really cool. But it also sounds like a car. You know,
Yeah.
like there's a car in your blind spot.
Blind spot, yeah.
Well played, sir.
Ryan, do you know how many Transformers have the last part of their name being Jack or Spot? There's so many of
I was
them.
gonna say almost every single one of them, which means Sunspot's double. Shit.
Sunspot is in
Yes!
fact double.
Damn it.
With that, Ryan takes a commanding lead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He has 6 to Robbie's 4.
Ooh.
That was a close game, though, boys. I really liked how that one went down.
That was fun. That was a fun one.
That was a fun one. I'm looking forward to seeing how you stack up with Troy next time. That'd be great.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, that's for Dark Phoenix, yeah.
That's for Dark Phoenix.
Ooh, nice.
So that was our little game of X or Bullshit. I only have one more round of these, and I'm done. I actually like this game. I have to come up with something new for next season.
Yeah, this game's fun. I'm digging it. So that shit was hard.
So for Nick Cage, we should do like a series of outlandish statements for that Nicolas Cage has done to get into character, and we have to say if it's real or not.
Oh,
Ooh,
that's
I like
good.
that. I like that. I'll look into that and see how doable that is.
Yeah.
With that in mind, let's move on to our final segment, ranking the film from platinum to bullshit and all the colors in between. We're going to rank this film on our very strange but very straightforward scale. Ryan, you want to kick us off first? Get us all familiarized with our ranking system?
Yeah. Well, like we mention all the time, it ranks from platinum, gold, silver, bronze, stone, and all the way down to stone, dirt, and then shit, which is real bad. I don't think it's shit. I don't think it's shit. Because there are some
I don't think
really...
we've given out very many shit movies, have we?
No. I think because I think there are some really, really good moments in these movies, but I don't think they balance out like they did with Days of Future Past for me. Like in my opinion, that's why I gave Days of Future Past a bronze, because I felt like it balanced itself out. I don't think this balanced itself out, so I am going to sadly give this a stone.
Robin, do you want to go next, or would you like me to take it up?
Yeah, I'll go next. I'm going to stick in the middle. I'm going to give it a bronze. Even though I probably should give it worse, because Apocalypse was terrible. But, I mean, it's still a watchable movie, even if it's not great. I didn't like it as much as Days of Future Past, but, I mean, I was still okay watching it again. There is some cool moments, just not as many as there should be, but it's okay.
I have been back and forth this one for a while, because there are things I like, there are things I hate, there are things I'm just kind of like, why is this here? And then I thought about it during our little conversation. Here's my overall thoughts. It has a lot of problems that obviously stand out. There's a lot of things that just do not work. And while all that is true, and there are a few brief moments of good things that are trying to happen, this film commits the cardinal sin that I think no other X movie has done thus far. It's kind of boring at certain parts. Like, none of the other X-Men movies feel like they've ever hit a lull that is like, oh, I don't want to watch this anymore. This just gets boring at certain parts, and I think that's kind of bad for any movie, really. And on top of all the other problems, I'm going to give it a dirt ranking.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You gotta be entertaining, otherwise you're not going to get my attention, man.
Damn, Aaron, laying down the hammer.
Ivan Ooze did a number on you, bro.
If it had been Ivan Ooze, I might have given this a bronze. He was fun.
Yeah, that would have made it more entertaining.
I'm sick of your ugly faces and your dull personalities.
Was he talking about this movie?
That's what we needed.
It's actually Apocalypse talking in the mirror to himself.
Oh, that's a sad boy. Thus ends the adventures of Apocalypse and his 4 horse boys. Robbie, thank you for joining us these past couple episodes. It's been a blast, man.
Absolutely. I was glad to jump on. It's always a pleasure with you guys, so thanks for having me.
And I like to ask you every time, because if someone's just listening to us for the first time and is just meeting you, where can they find you on the internet?
Yeah, I have my own podcast called Welcome to the Dog Pound. We are at Welcome Dog Pound, or PND, excuse me, on Twitter, as well as we have a Facebook page that's Welcome to the Dog Pound. We're on all your favorite podcast sites, so check us out. Just search Welcome to the Dog Pound, DAWG, and yeah, it's good stuff. It's a little different from what we do on here, but if you're interested in sports or history, hit me up.
Cool. And everybody, thank you for listening. Next week, you'll be hearing Dark Phoenix. For the rest of us, though, because we're recording in a really weird schedule, we're going to be doing Endgame next for us. That'll be fun.
Yeah,
I'm still not ready.
That's going to be a good episode.
So thank you for listening, and we'll see you after the credits.
Bye.
Damn.
Are you still alive after doing that?
Oh man, my voice, my throat hurts, but I think it came out okay.
We need to give Ryan a medal for this. He deserves it.
That was good work.
Thank you.
Have you considered it a career in voice acting?
No.
You should consider it, man. That wasn't bad. That was pretty solid.
I don't think I'm versatile enough for it, but thank you. I do appreciate it.
All right, well, I shall begin and give you a little bit of a rest there.